This channel is supported by Truefire.
Well, what is this all about then? It's the Truefire Summer Music Festival. What I'm going to tell you about, you can get 1 month of All Access for just $1. The All Access, you can dip in and out of every single course on Truefire, so that's a really great way to get some awesome courses down you.
The Boss Waza Airs, I think, actually changed the game, but we mostly, I think, missed it. Now, let me know in the comments if you've been a fan of Waza Airs. If you tried them, if you didn't like anything about them, if you disagree with this entirely, then do feel free to share that as an experience. When I first bought them, I thought these are kind of expensive. I thought these are kind of annoying to set up and get working with your phone. But I plugged them in again last night because I had basically, I put Elodie to bed and I needed to do something quiet in the house that wouldn't disturb her. I got the Waza Airs working eventually. And honestly, just play guitar for like a good hour, 2 hours. I hardly ever get to do that anymore. It's such an inspiring product to use. And a world of digital product, which I think so much of it takes a lot of time to get, sounding right. And then you put on some headphones. This is a Reddit comment that I saw that kind of pointed out, I've got way more expensive digital gear. I've got some decent headphones. None of it even gets close to the actual experience of a Waza Air, which are not actually that expensive anymore, about £285. So what is so good about the Waza Airs? Why is this something that I think other manufacturers should be paying attention to, is what I wanted to get into in this video a little bit. Like I said, this is a bit of a 180 for me, or a 360. Right, so first of all, what's good about the Waza Airs? One, the headphones themselves just sound good as normal headphones. They're about the most comfortable headphones that I've experienced. I've got some open back Sennheisers. I've got some Audio-Technica 50 MX, whatever those ones are. And I've got a set of Beyerdynamic DT, whatever those industry standard ones are. These feel more comfortable than any of them, and that's not a small feat. So that's one thing, like comfortability. Now, music sounds good on these as well. So if you're just using these as normal headphones, I think they sound really good. Annoyingly, like a lot of phones these days, you're going to need some sort of Bluetooth headphone if you're a headphone person anyway, and Bluetooth headphones can vary in expense. But of all of the headphones that I've ever tried, and I've got a few like fairly decent sets, these are by far and away the most comfortable. So there is that. The next thing is, I don't think many of us are totally blown away by anything that Boss do in terms of digital modeling. That's just my kind of opinion on that. I think people would say, you know, maybe Fractal Audio, Neuro DSP might do more accurate stuff, more amp-like stuff. But there's something about what they've done, which is, I think, putting your guitar sound back into a space. This is entirely the thing that I hear so many guitarists, you know, kind of lament. It's that I plugged into this digital gear, whether it's, you know, a 400, 500 pound HX Stomp, or, you know, an Axe FX. Frankly, like, the experience is relatively similar in that you're now in a world where it just sounds like you've chucked a mic in front of an amp, which is distinctly different from being in the room with an amplifier. And this is the real key of what the Boss kind of Waza Air experience is, which is far and above better than any other Boss experience that I've ever had, and far and above any experience using any modeler into headphones. Like, it's way better. Now, again, if other folks in the comments want to, you know, chime in and say, actually, I found the Waza Airs shite, do feel free to do so. This is just my opinion as someone who bought Waza Airs a while ago and thought they were expensive at the time. I've kind of done a 180 on it. So what the Waza Air experience is, if you missed this, you probably saw it and you probably thought it was a bit of a marketing gimmick. The idea is that it's got this gyro sensor in there that essentially kind of mimics a space and you turning around in a space. Now, here's the real key to this and why this is brilliant. There's like a room or space reverb that comes along for the ride. What makes this brilliant is that it kind of starts off with your head in front of your amplifier. So that's kind of a little bit closer to that direct sound that you might be used to. As you turn around, you get the experience that you're moving the amp around the space. And as you turn your back to the amp, you basically get more of that amp in the room sort of sound, because it kind of shaves off some of that presence and some of that top end. And just the gesture of turning your head to a new position actually can get you the tone that you're looking for, this less direct, less fizzy tone. I think that's actually an incredibly useful thing. And instead of getting into the menu and tweaking in that way, sometimes just turning your head slightly can give you the tone that you're looking for. And I think that is actually a game changer when it comes to digital gear, because we're still in this space where most pieces of digital gear are going to be mimicking something in the real world, like just turning a treble knob down or mid knob or all of these knobs, lots of knobs. This is one of the first things which is just like a physical gesture, which feels kind of otherworldly in a lot of ways, right? So you turn on the headphones. Here's the part which is not so game-changey, which is you've got the normal app, and it's not necessarily the most seamless connection every single time. But check out this position marker. So this is a soundstage thing that we're talking about, where as you move around this space in your ears, essentially the amp sort of pans around that field. But the more important part is that it also changes the tone, and in a way positions it such that your amp sounds like it's behind you, instead of you standing directly with your amp kind of blaring at you. And I think this is really the secret to a lot of stuff that people are still not liking about using a modeler, because that is one of those things, like those harsh high frequencies. You kind of feel like you're just stood right in front of something blaring at you. This is really very clever stuff. Like, it's got all of the normal bits and pieces which I think you would expect, which are less kind of game changing. But this part here, as much as I thought it was a bit of a gimmick at the time, really does totally transform the whole experience of playing guitar into headphones. And you think about, right, what if you were playing an in-ear gig, which to me I absolutely despise, because it kind of just sounds like I'm there with my super digital fizzy sounding thing right in my ears. It's just not as enjoyable. If I had something like this, that experience would be worlds better, worlds different. Imagine a set of in-ears which kind of knew, you know, your positioning. You could, you know, change the guitar position effectively and put it in different places in your ear. I think really the Wazas are onto something quite important, putting the digital modeling thing back into a space to get us back towards something which feels a bit more natural, less fatiguing. It's really, I think, clever stuff. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you totally disagree, totally welcome to tell us about that as well. Yamaha do actually make a set of Bluetooth headphones which are relatively low latency at 4 milliseconds. But I think this gyro ambience part is the whole reason for me that the Wazas are really quite an important product, which I'd love to see some other people tackle this.